All right, joining us next is the man who is the heavyweight champion of Bellator. And he is, a philanthropist and a whole lot more. It's Ryan Bader.
Don't use big words here, okay,
yeah,
Luke?
What does that mean?
He's kind to other people. How about that?
He donates money. He's a great guy, Ryan Bader. The former champ, still the heavyweight champ, as you mentioned. Here's why I'm going to give you credit. You're coming back to get your belt in this 8-man light heavyweight tournament. Was there ever a doubt in that in your mind when the thing was presented to you?
No, because I looked back at the heavyweight tournament, right, and I had the opportunity. I was a light heavyweight champion and said, hey, you want to jump in the heavyweight Grand Prix? I said, yep. Who's he going to be? We don't know yet, but we're in, and then that turned out obviously very well. Got the heavyweight championship, lost the light heavyweight, and so I planned on fighting heavyweight, defending that title in March, and that was kind of the plan. And then Bellator came to my team and I and said, hey, would you like to jump back into a light heavyweight tournament? And knew it was going to be big, kind of everybody's speculating, and said yes, and then here we are.
How good is Nemkov? You fought the guy.
Yeah.
What did you learn from him?
He is very good, and he's very tricky. I feel like I wasn't on my best. I had a lot of stuff going into that fight, and at the end of the day, he kicked me in the head and he set me up. In my mind, I was getting backpedaled a little bit. Took him down in the first round, and I remember in my head thinking, all right, you got to stop doing the same thing, slipping, his right hand to the same side and all that. I was like, I'm going to get it going, and then he threw that kick. I didn't have time to put my hands up, turned my head, took it. That was pretty much the end of that fight. But I'm looking forward to get back in there and, potentially facing him again in the finals because I know I can beat him. I felt what he has in there. And I felt what I did not have that night.
Real quickly before we jump in, BC, you're on this side of the bracket. You're on the left side of the bracket. Nemkov, Davis, Rumble, Romero, they're all on the other side. Who's the toughest guy on that side of the bracket?
I don't know. Styles make fights, right? For me or just in general?
If you had to bet your house on it, who is the toughest guy?
Man, I don't know. I think Nemkov is up there.
I feel like you fought Davis. Davis is, Davis, he's a tough fighty.
Exactly.
Hey, they wrestled in college. Okay?
Yeah. Davis is one of those guys I think is a dark horse and go out there and edge these guys out. He's that just funky and weird when you fight him. Obviously, his wrestling's good, and his cardio is there, and he's weird on the feet. But literally all those guys. You're talking about Rumble. You're talking about Romero, who looking at this whole tournament might be probably the weird matchup for me, being athletic, being a great wrestler, still having heavy hands and all that. But really anybody can, beat anybody on that side.
Absolutely. This is going to be very interesting. Friday, April 9th, you're in the main event, as we mentioned. The rematch with the Dragon, Lyoto Machida, and it goes back to 2012 when he stopped you. I know you have to have
seems
a short
like a lifetime
ago.
that
seems
really
generations.
That's crazy.
I know you have to have a short memory and a huge confidence in yourself to rebound, and you've come back from big losses before and had even bigger victories. Is there a part of you, though, that's still itching to run this back against this man?
I'm a competitor. I want to get all my losses back, right? That fight, literally did not know what I was doing on my feet. I was a wrestler that was tough, could throw a strong overhand, but I didn't have a jab. I didn't know how to set anything up. I remember in my head going, all right, I'm going to step outside, and I'm going to come in and throw a right hand. And then all of a sudden I woke up, first time I've ever been knocked out, and my coach is over me, and I'm like, did I get him? He starts giggling like he did right there, and he goes, we'll talk about it later. So it's one of those ones I want to get it back for sure, right? Competitor. I have a few losses to these guys here in this tournament. So for me coming back, it's like I was saying earlier, redemption, going out there and being a guy that not only became the first 2-division champion, but is going to be the first guy to win 2 Grand Prix at 2 different weight classes. So I once again have a great opportunity.
Let me ask you: is the footwork, or to what extent does the round Bellator cage matter relative to the flat paneled side of the UFC? Does it really change the game a lot? I mean, I guess it depends if you're wrestling against the fence versus not, or it depends on your footwork, but how significant is that difference?
It's a little different, but, for me, I haven't seen a huge difference in, how it plays. If you're kind of wall walking and if you're fighting on the cage, sometimes you hit those little turnbuckle, pads, whatever. And we don't really have, they have some, but the roundness of the cage is a little different, And then obviously, if you have a guy if you're on top of somebody, and they're kind of getting up, I would play those angles in that, octagon cage, whereas we don't have them here, so we have to put more pressure to keep that
Interesting.
going.
All right, so you can't take the angle on the outside.
Can't take that angle and kind of put his head right in that angle.
Interesting.
So they kind of have that curvature that whole time.
Yeah, that's fun.
Would it be wrong for me to give you a filthy casual take and say, I've watched a lot of MMA. I've never fought in it, but I think Ryan Bader's a better heavyweight than he is a light heavyweight. Is that an incorrect statement?
No, I'd give you that. We're doing this for fun. Obviously I want to go out there and win this, but I feel more comfortable at heavyweight. I feel faster. My cardio's there.
Do you ever wonder, had you attempted a move like that earlier, how different
Back in your
career
UFC
would be?
days, yeah.
Yeah, my coach back in the day, Aaron Simpson, always suggested that, like, hey, why don't you just go heavyweight? But I'm bigger now than I was back then. I was 220. Now I can get up to 240 if I want to, and be fast and be, have my cardio where I want it to be. And so for me, I really never tested myself there until that Grand Prix. And then when I went through there and didn't get punched, I'm like,
we should talk about that for just a second. I mean this sincerely, and you ran through that shit so ridiculously well. It was almost anticlimactic. The fights would just end basically before they got started. The fight with Mitrione, you had to do it was a little more work, but then against Mo and Fedor, it was like that Chris Rock joke: grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah.
There wasn't much to it, but it was like, dude, this guy, they can't land a fucking glove on this guy.
I just saw everything. I was fighting a 205-pounder with Mo, and it was a quick. I even saw everything. I could see. I set him up, with that left hook and put him out. And then Mitrione, I kind of had a wrestling heavy game plan, which I was getting 10-8 rounds and all that. And I kind of just, all right, it's cliche, but I was like, all right, this fight and move on in this fight. And then all of a sudden I was fighting Fedor, right, in the championship. And I was like, all right, Fedor's either going to be, we get a little gunfight and somebody goes down, or I need to wrestle him, get him tired. And it just happened, like we saw a lot of his tendencies and put him into that left hook again. And when I hit him that one time, saw him go back, I knew it was over. I was like, damn, we did it, right?
Wow.
That left hook kind of became it's not like you didn't throw it before, but it became almost like a finishing move for you in that tournament. What changed for you with that punch in particular? Was it the speed and confidence of it? What happened?
It's my whole game, how I put my game together, my striking and my wrestling. I might not have the most beautiful striking, but if you're thinking I'm going in for a takedown, or you don't really know what I'm going to do when I change levels, I could throw a right hand, blast through you, or I could throw that left hook. It all looks the same, and that's where I kind of go from. So people get surprised. And as soon as you're thinking that left hook, I'm taking you down or hitting you with the right hand. And so, those two fights went in there, snuck in there, and hit them both right on the button.
All right, this man over here. I mean, you've probably been interviewed by him for years, okay? You may like him, you may not like him. That's your choice. He's a critiquer of tattoos. Now, Luke, we don't talk a lot about Bader's art
Black
in
and
terms
gray,
of fitting in among the best. I like Josh Emmett's game. I like Michael Chiesa's tat game. This guy's up there, correct?
Yes, it is. That is good black and gray work, yes.
I got a bunch of my kid stuff and all that on here, so.
Now, here's always the question. Did you pay for any of it, Ryan Bader?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I cannot tell you how many pro athletes I've interviewed, and fighters included. And I'm like, how much were your tattoos? They're like, I don't know. I got a buddy who just does it for me.
It was a buddy, but, I'll pay for his services.
Oh,
He does
okay.
a good job,
All
you know,
right.
and I'm not going to take out
Yeah.
little handouts for that.
They give free tats in jail, too. Well, actually, you got to pay for it, but not with money.
Yeah, not with cash, per se. Maybe top ramen.
By the way, he would not have had the balls to say bad about your tats.
No,
Yes, I mean, your
I got
tattoos
some
could be
bad
terrible,
ones.
and I'd be like, yeah, they're phenomenal. They're fucking great.
I've got some terrible ones.
I always tell you, he doesn't understand this. I have a lot of tattoos as well. Anyone who's got good tattoos also has bad tattoos.
100%.
You have to learn like what is good. It's not as obvious as you may think. So, because he showed me some tattoo, and it was a UFC
All right,
fighter.
no,
Her
we're going to say
dad.
it. Amanda Hebus's dad. Did you see this?
No.
He got a tattoo on his left inseam of his forearm of Amanda choking out Emily Whitmire to win her first UFC fight, which is a big moment for the family. It's beautiful. I think it was
It's
amazing.
a nice moment.
I'm
The
like,
tattoo was busted.
this is a dad that loves his daughter. And this guy's like, oh my God, what was that guy at Meth who did the tat?
It was busted. That thing was busted.
It's kind of a hard tattoo to
It's a super hard tattoo. That's the other thing about it. It's like there was a lot of different elements to it, and it was black and gray, but he was putting white into the black and gray.
One of these days, Mr. Hebus going to take you down.
Listen, he's going to call. He's going to do the
okay?
same thing. He's going to be like, "How do you think of my tattoo?" I'm like, "That's the best fucking tattoo I've seen in my life." That's what I'm going to say. Hey, Ryan, can't wait to see what happens with this whole light heavyweight tournament, and of course, your fight against Lyoto Machida on what is it?
April 9th.
April 9th. April 9th. It's going to be a great time here at the 2021, and of course, that fight in particular.
Yeah, yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys.
All right,
you.
there he is.
Good luck to you.
Ryan Bader.